Welcome to Semokoli, where we share stories of injustices. If you're a victim of injustice, come and share your story with us. And don't let someone shame you because you're a victim or because you got conned or something happened to you. We're here to listen to your story and help you get justice. And our story today is about land. And Koi Karingithi wanted to buy a home for her family, and she was betrayed by a friend. And that friend is Senator Gloria Orwoba, who she had known for about 20 years. And when the betrayal happened, she went to the police thinking they were going to help her. And the police betrayed her some more, and they took her money, and they did not help her get justice.
Thank you, Bonnie, for even wanting to hear my story. So my story begins with a friendship that is 20 plus years old. I met Gloria Orwoba in St. George's High School when I joined high school in 2001. So not only were we in the same high school, but we were in the same class, and we later went on to serve as prefects together. And then even after that, the friendship continued. So it's not really one of those friendships where you say, you know, we met in high school and that's how we're in the same high school, but we continue to be in each other's lives, witnessing milestones, you know, marriages, children, etc. So of course, you know, you have the normal challenges that friendships have. Sometimes people either leave the country, go to study, so of course you are apart, but whenever we would meet again, we would just really start off from where we left off. So that's really, you know, how our friendship has been the last 20 something years. Then come COVID, 2020, yes, come COVID. So during COVID, I think it was just a very interesting time for a lot of people, just trying to figure out how to grapple with it. You know, people going through different mental health issues. I remember we had to work from home throughout, you could not leave the house. So I think during that time we had quite a bit of time, and I can say we spent quite a lot of time together. And how that, yeah, with Gloria, yeah. And how that started is because she actually mentioned that she's looking to run for office. So I was like, oh, okay, great. I mean, she was always, you know, very assertive, very out there. So I thought, okay, this would be great for her, so why not? And she mentioned she'd want me to support her in my own little way. So she was running for, at that time, for MP in Kisii, I think a constituency called Bobasi, something like that. And I remember, you know, for her to vie, I think also just being a female candidate, she wanted me to support her going back up country. Apparently you need to seek, and I was very surprised, you need to seek approval.
And the blessings.
Yeah, and the blessing of the elders.
Yes.
You know, so yeah, I found that very interesting. But you know, I was like, you know what, you're my friend and you need me to be there for you, I will be there for you. And so that's now how the closeness began, where I was really involved in that process. You know, we went, of course, with other politicians and friends as well who were supporting her campaign to really start that journey. And so during, of course, that interaction, generally you become sort of like close. There are things that you keep to yourself, but I think you get to trust someone naturally when you're spending a lot more time together. And what I did during that time is I really shared some intricate details of plans that, you know, we had, you know, with my husband, we were thinking about for our kids, you know, sort of like leaving a legacy, a home for them, etc. So just really details around even our financial lives. And because I could see, or rather I thought what she was showing me was real in terms of what she's putting in, what she's investing. So I thought, okay, fine. I think I can also sort of like share about my life. Unfortunately, she used that vulnerability, you know, against me. And I think the reason it pains me the most is because I know, knowing her life, that she does not need extra money, like money to really kind of get from somebody. So I think it pains me the fact that, one, I am your friend, you use my vulnerability, and you get money. I work hard.
What did she do? So
what she did was, as we started sharing about our lives, I mentioned that, you know, we are really thinking about, and we had now moved from Nairobi to the outskirts. We were looking for a place where we could settle, you know, with the kids, sort of like a place you can build a forever home. And so I had mentioned we had been putting some money aside. We are looking for a property that we can just sort of like invest in and put money down and get, and hopefully build a home for us and the kids. And so when I mentioned that to her, she was like, oh, you've met so she has two associates that she mentioned. There's a Ghanaian called Eric Agbeko, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. So, and he's even, you know, as a witness in the land agreement, and a gentleman called Reuben Yego as well, who she mentioned that they actually deal in property and chambers. So basically what they do is they get chunks, they subdivide, and then they sell. So she mentioned, and if you're looking at something in that area, so this area, the area she's talking about is Syokimau, Mlolongo area, there's something that they actually have, they're looking to subdivide. So basically what you're even asking people who are close is to be able to facilitate the transaction. If you can sort of like do down payment of some sorts, then you get a land agreement, a sale agreement with the LR number and all the transaction details. And then once you do the subdivision, then you get to choose what you want, the land that you want. So that's how that story began. And I think for me, when I look back, I really, I think I trusted too much. Because on hindsight, I think, like with my husband, for instance, I leveraged on my closeness with her to really trust her. So when she really pulled in Reuben Yego and she pulled in Eric, we even went and saw the property. I think in my head, I thought, she's really my friend. Yeah. There's really nothing. I mean, truly, I've heard of all those con stories, but I'm like, she cannot really do it. So that's what really happened. So I ended up paying a down payment of 900,000.
Which year, 2020?
So that was 2020 December. Yeah, 2020 December. And so what she did, and I realized on hindsight as well, I think knowing she was running for office, she pulled me in as a mark because the transaction was between the agreement, myself and Yegon, but she was my witness and she's listed in the agreement. And then now Reuben's witness is not this Ghanaian gentleman called Eric.
Who did you pay the money?
So I paid the money to Reuben.
But who brought you to the deal?
That is Gloria. Yeah, and she's even in the land and the sales agreement as my witness.
She said the company belongs to her.
So she said, yeah. So basically, she said that they work together.
Yes.
And they get property and then they sell. So, but these two gentlemen are the ones who actually now do the subdivision, and they're the ones who actually sell. But it's something they all do together.
So you send the money to who?
To Reuben Yego. Yes.
Like, is there like a company or it's just his
No. It was his name.
His name.
Yeah, it was his name because they had not really subdivided. So when they subdivide, then now they will now do it through the company name that they have. So the agreement is between myself and Reuben Yego.
So after you paid the money,
yeah.
When did you realize you were being conned?
So actually almost shortly thereafter, because I realized, I think that time when she was not pulling me in, things were moving, but not very quickly. I think I could tell she was trying to earn my trust. So, we would move around together. I met these people a couple of times. So, but I think about 2-3 months in, because they had told me the subdivision will be done in about 3 months. So when I started following up is when I started getting the stories. Or that time I remember, I think the Ministry of Lands was digitizing their records. So it became all the lands ministries digitizing things. It'll take a while. We'll get back to you. Then I'm like, okay, fine. Can you give me a timeline? We don't have a timeline. So I think about 3 months in, then I said, okay, fine. For the benefit of the doubt, I'll give it maybe another 3 months. And then really after that, and I mentioned to them after I told Gloria and Reuben and Eric as well, that after that, I think now I'll want a refund for my money if I will not have any shamba at that point in time. So 3 months came and went, and still going around in circles. That was not 2021. Yes.
What was Gloria telling you?
So she was telling me that I know these guys, I trust these guys, and they're even supporting my campaign, and I've known them for a very long time. So this Eric gentleman is he's Ghanaian, but he owns this building, the LEC Plaza, where House of Leather is, the popular building, yeah. And I know that's where also Gloria has her offices. So, I mean, it really looked very solid on paper because they even knew where I could find them, etc. So she started telling me that I trust them, they can't con you, so just trust me, I'm following it up. So even at that time, because I was following up with specifically Reuben, who's the person I'd send the money to, Gloria even kept on telling me, check in with me, give me an update on what they're telling you. If you're having an issue, let me know. So of course I'd keep her abreast, and she'd always assure me, and I have those messages, that yes, no, we are following through, it'll come through, it's just about to. And then 6 months now, when I mentioned I want a refund, the tune changed. It changed to, oh, that is taking longer than we thought. How about we give you a different shamba? And I was like, no, we went and we saw, that's the one that I want. And that's when I realized, okay, this was really a con game. She really just pulled me in as her mark, and then she handed me over to be eaten by the wolves. So that's when I now started demanding for a refund. So at that point now, we are almost towards the close of 2021. So I started asking for a refund, and of course I'm being told, yes, it's coming. They asked for my bank details, I gave them. Then I realized, okay, this is really now not going to happen. And so I told them, you know, if you're not going to give me a refund, I'm going to report this. And I think I'm going to take the legal route because, I mean, I don't think then you guys are really going to hold up to your end of the bargain. And so that's when I would need to check. That's when I decided to report the issue to Mlolongo police station. And I remember when we went, I think we found OCS, and he handed us over to the DCI to report our case. So we went and we reported the case to Mlolongo DCI. So we gave the details, and they were very, very interested, you know, in all the details of the case, and especially when they had that there's someone who's running, so this is Gloria Orwoba, they were very interested. Apparently, they even mentioned that this Reuben Yego had tried to run for Kericho governor like 2 terms before. So they were very interested in all these details, you know, and then of course then you have a foreigner who has residency. So initially, when I look back, I'm like, I think they could just hear dollar signs, cash signs in their head. Money. Me, I thought they're just interested in my case. They probably want to help. So we gave them all the details, and they gave us an OB number. And then, you know, that was that. They told us, okay, fine, just give us, we went to the site and we saw the shamba. And they're like, okay, fine, we'll follow through. They confirmed, yes, it was for sale, but they didn't confirm who it was for. But for some reason, I noticed that they had a couple of people they were on phone with during that time.
That's the DCI officers.
Yeah, the DCI officers. So they were calling people, mnajua kama shamba inauzwa, ama, or even landowners, when do unauza, or, and I could tell there is a whole cartel of people, and you know, there are so many people they're consulting on this particular issue. But I was like, you know what, I've come here for help, so maybe let me just try and trust the system and trust the process. So they told us they'd get back to us, I think in about a week. But before that, actually, I remember, so I was with my husband and we went to report the DCI. So when we laid on the story, I had to write this very long statement. First of all, why do you write statements by hand in this country? And you're given so many foolscaps to write on. Yeah. But I wrote, and then he tells us, okay, tumesikiza hii kesi yako na venye tunaona na watu wako involved, this is what it will cost you for us to help you. And he writes something on a piece of paper. He acts very busy. He gives my husband the piece of paper. So he takes the paper and he looks at it and he sees 100
shillings.
So initially we thought it was because he didn't have K, he didn't have any like 6 figures. Yeah. So he asked mia moja. Akasema hapana. He took it back 100. Then I think he added 3 zeros. So 100,000.
To investigate a case.
To investigate a case. We are not even at a point where they have even taken any step. It's just we have gone, recorded a statement, and they were asking for 100,000. So, you know, my husband, me at this point, I think all the stories I've heard of cops, I was really on the back end, so my husband was really the one who was dealing with it. And we're like, you know what, we cannot be removing money to chase money. So ideally then, if we have to pay, can we get the money first? If the money does come, let's have that conversation. You know, yeah, pick it up from there, act like an agency that you're a collection agency and you take it from there. And we're like, apana kwendangi hivyo lazima facilitation, but we're like, you're a government agency. You probably have budgets, you have the money to do it. If we went to see the shamba, they didn't ask for fuel at that time. Yes. So I thought, oh, they were very helpful. You know, they had their own vehicle, we went. So in my head, we're like, you have vehicles, you have means to do it, resources to do it, you know. So he was like, kama hiyo iko, he took the paper back. And he wrote, nitakupatia discount. He also said, nitakupatia discount.
Discount to do his work.
Yes, nitakupatia discount. His name was Wandera. Yes. And he was there with 2 other ladies. Then he writes there 70,000. So my husband told me, anyway, we don't have that kind of money. So ni sawa tu kama hatuwezi saidika, at least tumereport, tuko na OB number. If you do investigate, let us know. So that was that, and this we spent, it was a very rigorous process. We spent a whole day with them. It was just, you know, morning up until evening, writing, viewing, all those things. So we left. And then a couple of days later, like 2 or 3 days later, that one there, the DCI calls. And he's like, and he gives me all these details to a T. Ara tumewatrace na kwanza tuliwapigia simu na nilipigia Gloria simu nikamuuliza kama anakujua, anajua transaction, akaniambia she didn't deny, she actually says that yes, you are her friend, but you've become impatient, wanafuatilia process ya kusubdivide shamba, and she hakudeny, akasema wanaona venye watakupatia refund. And then it tells me, lakini kulingana venye tumeona huyo Reuben Yego na huyo Eric ni kama tu ni wakora, they're very very slippery. Na akatambia tume-identify offices zao ziko LC Plaza, the same place I mentioned. Yeah, that's where they are. So they actually even found them there. And I think even in the evening they followed them and, you know, they were able to identify where they were having like tea or something. So wakatambia sasa tumewashika, tunajua kwenye wako, unataka tufanye nini.
supposed to arrest.
Thank you. So me, we're like, you're the one who's supposed to arrest them, question them, and then, we move from there. I cannot tell you how to do your job. So we realized he's still soliciting. Ideally, he was giving us something. It's like dangling a carrot, like I have this info. What will you give to get more or to do more? So we still held our end at that point in time. And then I think now, the next day he calls. And he's like, okay, sasa, vile tunajua kwenye wako, we can follow them and we can arrest them. So for us to arrest them, we're not even asking now for the 70,000 we're asking for. We will use 3 cars, kuna Probox, kuna we went to the site of the pickup. Kuna pickup tulienda nayo and a police vehicle. All we're asking for ni mafuta. Mtoke gari mafuta, we go arrest them, alafu tupatane police station kesho. So, like mafuta ni pesa ngapi? Wakasema mafuta ni, first of all, I think he mentioned like 30k. Well, like gari tatu mafuta 30,000 ni kama hata, really.
That's a plane ticket.
Yeah, to Mombasa and wherever. Yeah. Then he went, he was like, okay, fine, nitakupigia. So he calls back again. He's like, okay, mkichupatia, I think it was 10,000 to take a gari mafuta na tutawashika and then mtakuja police station. So I mean, that time I think trying to just follow through and just hoping that, you can actually be helped. We did give that 10,000 for the fuel. So we even asked him, how do we do it? So we told him, can you send the money? Of course, he was like, no, you can't come to the police station. So, and then come and you make sure you come with the husband, with nobody else. We're like, okay. So when we went, initially, we didn't have the cash, the money was on the phone. So when we went there, he told us, and of course he had to check, because I noticed he went first out to see if there's anybody else, if we were being followed or were with somebody. Then he comes back and you tell him we're not with anybody. He confirmed. And then he mentioned, then I need cash. So we told him we don't have cash. Then he told us there's a police canteen out there and they have an M-Pesa. So go withdraw the money there and then we come and give him the 10,000. That time he was alone. By the time we bring back the money, the 2 ladies now had come. They're actually very busy. The cars had been brought there. They actually, like, guys were going on a mission, now they had the handcuffs, we give money. So we left knowing that they've gone to arrest. So day 1, the next day, crickets. Day 2, silence. Try to call him, he's not answering. Then I think now the 4th day is when one of the ladies here that had not even spoken to other than the day we reported the case calls and she's like, tulipata watu wako lakini walishaongea na Wandera na wakampatia pesa. Ni kama wamempatia 200,000, 200,000 because aliwaambia atawashika. So kenye tunaweza fanya ni sasa mimi ukinipatia pesa naweza fuatilia because Wandera has been compromised.
Wow.
I think at that time we just realized, you know what, one, the system is just not working, and then I realized that these people really have a lot of influence with government agencies. For some reason they kept on giving money, and I think from now my understanding from that cop, they gave almost more than 300,000-400,000. And in my head, I'm thinking, to make the case go away, for them not to be arrested, etc. I'm thinking, I paid you 900,000. If you paid me that money, we'd be halfway into you returning back my money. But they really would rather, frustrate me. So these are people, as you can tell, who really just don't need money. It's just something they do, and it's how they probably either make their money. So, so I think at that point, we realized we're not going to get any help we're not going to get any help from the DCI, but I still also kept on following up with them. And I remember they were calling me, telling me, withdraw the case, we will give you back the money, but they're not giving me back the money.
Who was calling you?
So Gloria was calling me, and Eric, this guy. Reuben, the guy I paid money to, would call, but I think Eric, because I'd been told he's the owner of the company that does now this whole property business, he was sort of like my point person, and I realized he was a closer associate to Gloria. I think Reuben was in this transaction mainly because this property belonged to people he knew. That's why he was there, but I think now Gloria and Eric are the ones who run this thing together. So I was still following through. They told me to withdraw, and they told me, I remember at some point Eric called me and told me, withdraw, and even if you don't, as we know the government, and at that point in time, I think, it was during campaign season, so I think everyone was trying to align themselves. So, they were saying that they're even representatives of the Ghanaian government, they're investing in politicians, sort of like just to intimidate me. So now an interesting twist of events that happened that now made me realize that I will probably never get this money back from these people is come January of now last year, 2022. I remember reaching out to Gloria because I was dealing with Eric, and the last conversation was send us the bank details, right, around December. So January, I remember reaching out to Gloria on WhatsApp because now she'd gotten to a point she would not answer my calls, or I'll call you back, not really call back. And I was like, hi, I'm just really following up the last conversation. I actually pasted the messages, you know, where I was asked for my bank details, you know, to get the money, but nothing has really gone on. So really just tell me what is the next step here, truly, because you cannot be walking around knowing you owe me money, knowing that this is money I really worked hard for, you know. And I got a bit emotional. I went on a very emotional tangent. It's really unfair. So I remember she responded to my message and told me, Lydia, you know, you're not a very good friend. I just lost my father. I am mourning my father. You didn't even reach out to offer condolences. No, this is gaslighting me to offer condolences. Your brother even reached out. I'm like, okay, first of all, I was like, I'm really sorry for your loss. Yeah. But I think because I'd been triggered by her over time, I think I'd blocked her or muted on social media. So I really did not know what was going on in her life at that point in time, which is really expected. You've wronged me. So I remember telling her, you know what, I'm really sorry for your loss. But, you know, that's besides the point. What is happening here? And she tells me, you know, in fact, because you're not a very good friend, you cannot even stand with me when I needed you the most when my father died. Never ever reach out to me again with this transaction, about this transaction. Never call me again. Follow up your money by yourself. I'm done having this conversation with you. And I kid you not, that is the last conversation I had with Gloria. And I remember I even asked her, okay, these are two very mutually exclusive things, you know. We can deal with our friendship and the fact that you feel I was not there for you, and truthfully I did not know, but I don't see the correlation. And she was like, no, if you can't see the correlation, then you're the problem. And that is exactly how she removed herself from that equation, and that is how that story ended. I was left alone by myself, high and dry. So, of course, at this point in time, you know, after trying the cops, after, you know, not trying to figure out what to do next. Now I'm not dealing with depression. I'm just dealing with a lot of shame and embarrassment, because I'm thinking maybe if I reached out to a couple of people, someone would have caught it for me, or I trusted her too much. And I just not became a recluse. I was like, I can't trust any government agency. I don't think anybody can help me. I think this year is up there in the cops that you believe can really sort of like help you sort out any issues. And I think that's around the point when I realized, you know, I guess I've lost my 900,000 like that.
Did Wandera ever talk to you again?
Wandera never talked to me again. I remember the only time he called me is at some point I thought I would report the case to IPOA. You know, when I was still, I think I had a bit of fight in me, and I think I just went to inquire how it is. And I think because I mentioned the police station and who they are, he called and he was like, nasikia unapeleka kesi huko mbele, you know. I think I was trying to, I hadn't even reported, I was trying to, exactly. I was trying to see how the process goes. And so I think, you know, you mentioned the police station and the fact that it's this year, so I think what got round.
So the people at IPOA reported you to the...
It's like they called to telling me someone is trying to report something. So I remember him calling and telling me, they're bad people. They have a story, they will twist this story. You can't go anywhere with them. Achana tu na hii kesi, madam. Juli kata kutoa pesa, wachana tu nayo. So I realized, okay, if truly now IPOA is where I should be going ideally to get help, and that's how it's turning out. At that point, I think I washed my hands.
Do you remember who you spoke to at IPOA?
No, it was a general inquiry. Yeah, so I think I just popped in. It was a general inquiry. I didn't take mental note because I also didn't make a report. So I just inquired on how to go about it.
So have you given up?
If I'm here, it means I've not. It means I've gotten a bit of fight in me. I think I've realized that if the least I can do is make sure it doesn't happen to anybody else. Because right now, what I came to learn over time, and even with the DCA, it's something that they do. And mine was a very small transaction, probably to just facilitate what they do. But they do bigger transactions and bigger deals. I remember that one day telling me there's a lady in Karen that they called another gentleman apparently from property in Karen, family property. Some guy who they even took to SA and they didn't even appear, like stories. And I realized it's something that they actually do. And now knowing that Gloria is in government at this point in time. I feel that, exactly, she's a nominated senator. So I'm like, she can probably now easily grease hands, and she has a system backing her up. So for me, it's, if then I will not get my money back, then it should not happen to anybody else, because I believe it's still happening and it's still going on. But I think I still have a bit of fight in me. We still want to explore the judicial way, and we are actually filing it in the land court. So let's see. Yeah, I mean, we must have some faith, no?
Yeah, you must have some faith.
We must have some faith, yeah. We must have some faith.
You can't afford to give up.
Yeah.
The moment you allow yourself to give up, the bad guys win.
Yeah.
So you can
true.
give up.
Yeah. So that's why I'm telling my story.
And thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah, thank you as well.
So what do you want to tell Gloria?
Gloria, I want to believe that you are still a good person, and I want to believe that that, unlike you, for me, I really work hard for whatever it is that I have. And that's not money I just had lying around. It's something I'd put aside for my kids, for my family. So do the right thing, because I know you can do the right thing. I'm seeing you out here doing wonderful things, with the position that you have. So do the right thing across board, not only when people can see you, but even when people can't see you. Yeah.
Hi, Boniface. I'm actually responding to you out of the respect that I have for you as an individual, because I would not want to make a comment on this, because families will be hurt, and particularly Lydia's family, and that's not how I do. I have friends, I have past friends, I have people who have been in my past who have done a lot of wrong things, and I don't wait for them to shoot to the limelight so that I can try and extort from them, because that's what this is with Lydia. Yes, I did witness a land sales agreement, just like I have been her witness for so many other transactions, which she's not telling you, because Lydia was my best friend. She was my best friend. Just like she has also witnessed many of my contractual deals and whatever, she was my best friend. So yes, I did witness. And as a matter of fact, what she's not telling you is that she has an active case in court. What she's also not telling you is that I'm the one who even assisted her to go to the police and to follow up on the issue. When my father died, I was so upset. Before my father died, she then came and told me that this piece of parcel that she bought is not going well. I was very upset. I was furious, because as much as we are not necessarily 100% now very close, it's like, no, I still cared for her, whatever. We had numerous communications, I went personally to a police station and assisted to track down the guy. Till today, they have that on record. So now, because I'm in the limelight, and because Lydia sees this as an opportunity to run a smear campaign, this is what she wants to pursue. So if you want to run a smear campaign, you run the smear campaign. But that will not be my portion.
Koi told us today that you can't afford to give up hope, and you can't lose hope. Our country is broken, battered, the police are corrupt, crooks work with the police, but you can't afford to lose hope. So we'll keep on telling these stories. We keep shedding a light on the crooks until something happens. We cannot afford to give up. It's a broken system, but it's up to us to fix this system for our kids. And this is Samuel calling. Subscribe and share with us your story.